In today's video, I'm going to go over how to live stream out of the Sony a6700, go over the 2 ways you're going to be able to do it, also go over the ins, the outs, the pros and the cons of each of the different ways, depending on how you're going to use this camera to live stream. The first way to live stream out of this camera is the most basic and simple way, and it's using the USB-C port that's right here on the side of the camera. We'll take a look right here. And using this USB-C port, you can actually do up to 4K 30 frames per second out of the USB-C port. You can also do 1080, 60, 720. Anyone who's using the 60 frames in this USB-C mode most likely is doing gaming. To enable this mode, first you have to actually plug in a USB-C from your computer to your camera. And then you'll notice a pop-up shows up and it'll give you options to live stream, do MTP. You're gonna wanna just choose the live stream. All the other options you don't need to choose because you're only live streaming out of this. Now, the default setting to live stream is going to be 1080. So you're gonna wanna go into the camera and scroll down to the network settings, which is the green icon with the globe. Go over to number 2, which is streaming, then go to USB-C streaming, and then choose your output resolution and frame rate. You'll see your options. You have 4K 30, 4K 15, HD 60, HD 30, and 720/30. Now, after testing these modes on the a6700, if you're going to be using this camera to do live streaming and shoot in 4K 30, it's only going to last you around 56, 57 minutes, and that's indoors. So unless you're doing a relatively short live stream, I probably wouldn't choose 4K 30 if you're going to do this for live streaming, because you will overheat before your time is done. If you shoot in the 1080 modes, I did not experience any overheating whatsoever using the USB-C. So if you want to use the USB-C mode, I would recommend sticking to 1080. The other benefit is, unlike a lot of the other Sony cameras where the USB-C does slightly power the camera, but it does slightly lose power over time, the a6700 seems to not lose power while you're doing the live stream over the USB-C. So that is a benefit. So for those of you who want to be in 1080 mode, you'll know that you could stream in 1080, pretty much go as long as you need to, and your camera won't run out of power. Now let's talk about the other way to live stream, which is doing it out of the HDMI. Now, this camera has a micro HDMI, so it's a little bit smaller, but I can see why they did it because of the size of the camera. If you want to stream out of the HDMI, the benefits are that, number 1, you could do up to 4K 60. Number 2, you can actually output your LUT from the camera over the stream. So with the USB-C, you're stuck using the basic Rec. 709 picture profile, whereas you can use any LUT you want over the HDMI, which is something that I use all the time with my FX30. So I can use a LUT just like we're using in this video right now and not have to just use a basic colored in profile. Now, the benefits of using the HDMI, if you're just trying to stream in 4K 24 and you are not going to record the video at the same time, you will not experience overheating in 4K 24. So if you need a 4K live stream, I would definitely go out of the HDMI, which then means you need a capture card. I'll put a link to some of the capture cards I use in the description below, but you can get things as basic as an Elgato Cam Link, which is like the size of a thumb drive that just converts the HDMI to USB, or you can use another thing like the ATEM Mini Pro or the ATEM Mini, and that's actually what I use. It's a 4-camera switcher, but that's going to be overkill for a lot of uses. So for the most part, I would choose something like an Elgato Cam Link. I think that's the most cost efficient. Now, if you're trying to shoot in 4K 60, this will output 4K 60 if you're doing like video game live streaming. However, it will overheat at around 36 minutes. So I would not recommend using this camera to live stream 4K 60. I think the 4K 60 out of this HDMI is more meant for someone who's capturing the 4K 60 to something like an Atomos Ninja V, which again, nothing to do with live streaming, but I want to let you know why I believe that option is there. Then, of course, if you're doing the 1080p modes, they won't overheat either. And I think the reason you would do 1080p and still use the HDMI is so you can use your custom LUT and have the most dynamic range, the best image quality out of this camera as possible. But it's very simple, as you can see, to live stream out of the a6700. Sony did a relatively decent job. I was a little disappointed at the overheating in the 4K 30 mode, as that was one feature that the FX30 doesn't have. It only does 4K 15, which is kind of useless. But I can't really use the 4K 30 on here either, because most of my live streams, the live streams itself will last around an hour, which means that there's time of setting up the camera. There may be times after the live stream's over where I'm talking to the guest, or maybe I'm a guest on someone's podcast and I'm talking to them. So the 4K 30 mode just isn't enough for me, but I think there's a lot of users who can kind of figure out how to make this camera work for them if they need to do live streams. Maybe you don't do it all the time and you're just watching this video because you're trying to set it up once. It's absolutely doable. Just choose the right setting for the right length of time or the right features you're going to need in that live stream. So if you have any questions about live streaming with the a6700, any other questions about this camera, the FX30, future videos you want to see, make sure to ask in the comments below. And if you got knowledge and value out of today's video, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep up to date with the latest videos on the channel. And until next time, thank you for watching, everybody. My name's Geoff Fagien, and I will see you in the next video.